I wanted to bring together two timely and important topics. And I think the first part of this discussion sort of teed us up really well for this. In the idea that data doesn't tell a story, but researchers do. And so, we've been talking today about data disaggregation and collection, but we also know that economics and social sciences more broadly are facing a challenge in increasing diversity in the discipline. And so I was wondering if you all could talk, and maybe Marie, you could kick us off here, about how the lack of diversity in economics and other social sciences affect the data that we collect and how research questions are shaped, but also what are some of the paths forward here?
I think that's an excellent question. And actually, it was touched on a little bit in terms of the previous panelists. One of the issues that we have in economics, and you mentioned the other social sciences, when we think about the importance of diversity, it's not just talking about having a diversity of how people look. It's really trying to get that diversity of perspectives and lived experiences so that we can bring our insights into interpreting the data or asking questions about the data, like why are we finding this? What does this really mean in terms of being able to tap into the communities. And I really appreciate Corey's comments in terms of the work that they're doing, because that's one of the ways to really get into that. I've worked for many years to try to diversify the economics profession, which does have a big problem with diversity, both with gender and also with respect to race and ethnicity. One of the reasons I'm one of the founding members of the American Society of Hispanic Economists is because a group of Hispanic economists got together and we were essentially complaining that we never saw either Hispanic economists or Hispanic economic issues presented at the annual conference, the Allied Social Science Association. And so rather than just complaining, nobody will listen to us, we did put that into action to launch that. I've also been fortunate to have funding for the National Science Foundation for the American Economic Association's mentoring program, which is designed for PhD students from traditionally underrepresented groups in economics, and also new PhDs. And that's a way to build community and to have this mutually supportive network for emerging minority economists. And so that's part of the efforts that are being done out there. We need to think about, again, when we are looking at the data, we need to think about not just the interpretation, but what questions are not being asked, or where do we have the gaps in terms of data analysis. I was fortunate to have served a couple of years on the board of directors for the Federal Reserve Bank of Dallas's San Antonio branch. And what I loved about that is part of our mission as directors, we were supposed to collect what they called economic intelligence. And that is, we were supposed to go around and just listen to people. Because when the Fed is conducting monetary policy, they need to have as much data as they can, but data often comes with a lag. And so as sophisticated as the data collection efforts are of the Federal Reserve System, they were really trying to get a jump start on that by understanding what was happening at the local level. So they looked at their directors as having the boots on the ground and to be able just to report back. So we talk about, hey, there's this major highway construction project. What does that mean in terms of employment? Will that divert traffic? What does that mean in terms of the businesses that are along that particular route? This is one of the reasons that in order to be on these boards of directors, you actually have to live in the areas that you're representing, so that you can report back on what's happening on the ground. And you can give that insight in terms of, again, these lived experiences that we've been hearing about.